Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, I'm sitting here with this big old box that holds 50 foundations. I got a whole bunch of requests to do an update on the Jouer high coverage foundation. If you haven't seen my original video on that, let me just go ahead and leave that right here. But I was thinking, how am I going to do an update when I've pretty much already said how I feel about the wear and the formula of this foundation. The really thing that's different about this launch is that they released 2 or 3 times as many shades as they did when it first launched. So I figured the best way to do this would be to do a full face using only foundations type of video, because then I can showcase more swatches, I guess, of the shades on my face. Now I won't be able to find a way to use, all 50 foundations on my face, or maybe I could. We'll see, who knows. But I feel like this will be a nice way to show more shades than I usually would be able to show if I just used one. So I've already filled in my brows using the darkest shade, which is Truffle, and then I used the shade Pecan as I would concealer to try to clean that up, but they just kind of started bleeding into each other, making, a 1/3 color that I'm not really here for, but it is what it is. We're just going to move along, and I think my new shade, well, my actual shade, I should say, in this foundation is the shade Suede. We're about to find out. I mean, having 50 options does make picking a foundation a little bit harder because there are multiple undertones of this foundation, but I think that's what it is in this one. We'll see. Okay, so if you've seen the first video I did on this foundation, then you would know they only had, I believe, 17 shades before, and the darkest shade had me looking a hot mess. The darkest shade before was the shade Espresso. At some point while I'm trying to blend this foundation in, I'll go ahead and insert what Espresso looks like on the back of my hand compared to the newest darkest shade, which is Truffle, which is also the shade that I use to fill in my brows. So there's been a big jump between their first darkest shade and their new one. I think there's let me see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shades have been added since their original darkest shade. I don't know, I feel like this is a tad bit more red than I was expecting. I picked it because it says for very deep skin with neutral undertones. So I'm kind of thinking what would happen if I went to Mahogany, because that says for deep skin with neutral undertones. So that's the darkest for the deep skin category that comes in a neutral undertone. I'm basically looking for a foundation with a neutral undertone, and Mahogany is the darkest one in the deep category with a neutral undertone, and Suede was the darkest in the very deep category with neutral undertone. So I already have this on my face, so I'm kind of wondering what would happen if I threw in just a little bit of Mahogany. We're already here, and it's not like this is a look that I'm doing for the Academy tonight, so let's just throw some on there. That's a very big difference. This is Suede, on my hand since I was using it as a palette, and then that's Mahogany right next to it. I feel like I should just back away now and just move along with Suede, but again, we're already here, so that's Mahogany, and let's just try blending some. I'm trying to figure out how Jouer's undertones work here. And I'm going to use that same shade Pecan that I used to try to fix my brows there as concealer under my eye. So I'm trying to figure out if there was a formula change as well when they were adding the new shades, because when I first tried this was thick. Okay, coming out of the bottle it was thick, and now I'm trying it and it's watery when it's coming out of the bottle. I mean, it's weird because it seems like it wants to still be the same type of consistency as when I first tried it, but it's also coming out, as if you would turn the sink on and water is coming out. So I'm trying to figure out if there was a formula change as well. I didn't see them mention anything about changing the formula. I thought they were just adding more shades to what they already had. But the first time around, I said that this is a pretty thick, full coverage foundation. I mean, it's still giving me full coverage. A couple people did mention, what did I think about using this as concealer? We're about to, find out once I finish blending this. I mean, it's certainly still a full coverage foundation. So for anyone who does use foundation as concealer, I could see you using this as an under eye for anyone who uses this, who uses foundation as concealer, I can certainly see you using this foundation as under eye concealer. But I did have some creasing when I tried this the first time, so you know, you might want to be careful with just how much full coverage. Like if you're using a full coverage foundation and you use this as an under eye concealer, there might be some creasing under there, but I could certainly see this being used as an under eye concealer. The watery part just makes it probably be a little annoying when applying this, but if you wanted to, you could. Okay, I have oily skin, so I'm not about to play myself and not set my face. I'm not sure if that's considered cheating, but you know, how are you supposed to use foundation to set your face? So, you know, it's alright to cheat sometimes. I'm gonna take truffle again to contour my face. Trying to figure out how this is going to work with the slipperiness that this foundation now seems to have. Yeah, I'm not gonna go ahead and turn the other cheek because your girl went pretty overboard with the contour on that side, so you know, you're just gonna have to see this side of my face for the rest of the video. I'm gonna go ahead and use Hazelnut as a blush color because when I swatched this on IG, it came up pretty red, so I'm hoping it'll give me a red orange type of blush look. Did it work? Are you seeing that, you know, reddy orangey type of look there I'm going for? Yeah, well, I'm just gonna assume that it did. I kid you not, I've been sitting here for 10 minutes trying to figure out what shade to use as highlight. There's a little chart that I'll hold up at the end of the video that I've been looking at that has all the shades and the undertones. I am looking for one with a golden undertone. I'm hoping, you know, that'll help using it as concealer. So I'm gonna go ahead and use Cinnamon. This is where this look could go very left, but I'm gonna use that as highlighter. First of all, I know the back of my hand looks crazy, but just look at Cinnamon, like look how light that shade is. Y'all see anything? Does it look highlighted? I feel like I kind of see something, but I kind of, it's good enough. I would just like to point out that I still have to do eyeshadow. This should be interesting. So first for eyeshadow, I'm going to take Espresso, which used to be the darkest shade, and use that as a transition. I'm going to use Golden Sand as my lid color. And now this shade, Toffee, in my outer corner. I'm going to outline my lips using the shade Mink. I'm going to fill it in using the shade Praline. I'm going to go back in with Mink after I take the lightest shade. This comes in the shade Ivory, and just apply that right here to the middle of my mouth. So that is it for this look. I didn't bother with lashes or liner because I feel like I was doing pretty good until I got to eyeshadow, and then I just completely lost control of this look, and now I'm starting to feel like I look pretty red, but I feel like I didn't do that bad, you know. I feel like the point was to really showcase the shades. And speaking of that, look at the back of my hand. It looks like a melting pot of foundation shades, but that's a good thing because that's what your foundation ranges should look like. Let me go ahead and show you guys what the lightest shade looks like compared to the newest lightest shade compared to the previous lightest shade. However, my thoughts on this foundation are pretty much still the same. It has a beautiful finish on your face, and for the amount of foundation that I have on right now, I have 2, 4, 6. I have 13 foundation shades on my face, and for it being a full coverage thick and that many shades on my face, it's still pretty lightweight. Now granted, I've only had this on for about 30 minutes, but I don't feel any makeup on my face yet. However, it is a very full coverage foundation. Like, I mean full. Like, I don't think you'll even get medium coverage just by using less of this. I think once you put it on your face, you're getting full coverage, and that's why this isn't something that I would really gravitate towards, because I am someone who likes more of the medium coverage foundation. I feel like I would really only pull this out if I needed, you know, a full beat looking face. That's the only time I feel like I would pull this out. So that's why I won't be using this that often. Now I feel like the big, you know, elephant in the room is the shades. Like that's really the point of doing this video. They came out with 33 shades. When they launched, they only had 17, and that last shade had your girl looking crazy. All right, I had to go out in that shade Espresso. I think that's this shade right here on my entire face. Girl was not pleased, okay? I felt some type of way because people saw me in public with that all over my face. And I feel like it's a great thing, you know, whenever a company expands their shade range, you know, especially since that foundation came out in, I think, December, somewhere around there. It is now April, so pretty quickly they, you know, expanded their shade range once they got some of the feedback that people gave them the first time around. But you know what would have been better, Jouer? If you had done this from the beginning. But, you know, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. Companies now know we will come for you if you put out crap. But anyway, I am here for the expansion. I would highly suggest, because I do believe they sell samples on their website, so like I think for $5 you can get, maybe it's even, you know, it'll come in something like this, but I do believe you can get samples on their website. I would suggest doing that before investing the full price in this, just because you know, with more shades comes the obstacle of having to find a shade. You know, when you have more options, it makes it a little bit harder. But also, I think the undertones of this foundation will make it a little trickier trying to find your shade, especially when you're shopping online. So I would highly suggest getting a sample first if this is a foundation that you're interested in. But yeah, that's pretty much it, I feel like, for this update on this foundation. I hoped, you know, seeing me try to do a full face using foundation was a little humorous to you out there. And I feel like I really don't have anything else to say. So make sure to thumbs up, comment, and subscribe down below. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye!